Hi Salam. Welcome to the makeup chair. Today I'm going to do a brighter under eye with a fuller cover concealer and a brightening eye color corrector. First, you always have to moisturize under your eye. I'm using an eye cream, always with the ring fingers, warm it up between the two fingers and apply it under the eye area. I tend to massage it outwards because it also helps the lymph drainage at the same time. Don't try to pull too hard with the skin. And that's why we use the ring fingers, because the ring fingers has the least pressure and it will not pull too much to cause more stretching of the skin under the eye. Always pat it down so you can get it into the skin. Wait a little bit so that it can dry before applying your under eye brightener. I'm going to apply the under eye brightener from the NARS in the color Magic Hour. I love this one. It's super hydrating. It's got collagen, vitamin E, and it has a moisture finish, slight glow. And I'm using a fluffy brush to apply. Use very little. Apply it straight on the area where you see the darkness. So I'm going to apply it directly where I see the dark shadow under the eye by patting it in and blending it out slightly. I'm going close to the eye because that's where the darkness is. Just make sure that you blend it out properly. And use very little product at a time. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side, concentrating on the darkness. So the reason why I'm putting on the color corrector and eye brightener first is if I go in directly with a brighter under eye concealer, it's going to give me an ashy grey undertone because of the slight discoloration and pigmentation under the eye. Same with the top. Apply very little, only where you see the discoloration, and blend it in nicely. While we're blending, I'm going to speak about my eyebrows. So I haven't focused much on my eyebrows today. I just did something so it looks like something. But I do not tweeze, shape, remove any hairs around my eyebrows for religious reasons. So yeah, if you guys see any hair sticking out, or like I call it ants on the face, I'm okay with that. Now you can see that it's nicely evened out before we're going to use our concealer. This is my little trick. I tend to squeeze my eyes together like that to push out any excess product that's maybe stuck in the fine lines, so we don't have excess product collecting through the day. And I just blend it out. Top and bottom. As you can see, I'm checking just by lightly pulling on the eye area. Lightly, keyword. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to use this teeniest bit of translucent setting powder. I love the NARS translucent crystal powder, the light reflecting one. It is super soft, blurring. It does not cake. It also has hydrating polymers inside the powders, so it doesn't make the skin look too dry. When you put it on the brush, press it into the back of your hand, so you're almost infusing the brush with the powder, so you don't use a lot. And you can blend it out nicely without using too much powder under the eye area. So now I've set the color corrector brightener, so it's not going to move around when I apply the concealer or mix with the concealer too much. I've opted for the Bobbi Brown concealer in the shade Warm Honey. If you notice, I'm applying it underneath my wrinkles or underneath the fine lines. And I have chosen a shade or two shades lighter than my skin tone because, like I said, we're going for a brighter, fuller cover under eye. If you don't have the fine lines and the wrinkles, you can go a bit closer to under the eye. But yeah, I do have the fine line, so I need to be a bit more careful. I'm using a fluffy, angled brush because it's going to help me get nice and close. I'm now going to take the NARS setting mist, buff it into the brush. So now the brush is nicely saturated with the setting spray, and I'm now going to blend first by patting to get the coverage, and I'm still staying away from the fine lines and first blending it in underneath and doing patting motions, blending it downwards. Just evening it out nicely. Once again, did not go close to under the eye. I like to do one eye at a time. First the bottom of the one eye, then the bottom of the next eye, because it gives it time for the concealer to also set a bit to help with the coverage on the lid or under the other eye before you get to that side. You just want to pat lightly and blend it out. Now I'm going to go back in close to the under eye and blend the concealer upwards closer to the under eye, because now I don't have as much product to blend into that area, so it won't settle as much into the fine lines. We won't get that creasing through the day. That is what we're trying to avoid, is the creasing. Once again, checking under the eyes if there is any product stuck in there. Now I'm taking another brush that is slightly flatter but still soft, and then removing any excess that I've seen there with the brush and blending it outwards. Once again, this will also avoid creasing through the days in the areas where I have the fine lines. Guys, I can't change the fine lines. They're going to be there. But I can help with the creasing of it. Now I'm once again take some setting spray. And I'm just going to blend it in lightly close to the under eye area. And blend it out over the concealer underneath again. You can blend this out over any areas, on top of the eyelid again. This will all help with creasing and with the concealer staying. If you want to, you could stop right there and not use powder. But if you are wanting it to be more matte, you can go back in with some powder. Once again, on the brush, press it into the brush on the back of your hand, and then lightly dust. Then use the powder on top, because once again the brush is saturated with powder, so there will be enough powder to blend. And it's a simple, easy, brightened under eye. Not much product there. Well, nothing actually stuck into the fine lines, as you can see. Thanks for watching.